Thank you, Russ. Good evening once again. The two sides out under the lights here at the Western Home Stadium. West Brom's push for another instant return to the Premier League is already gathering place under Valérien Ismaël. The new head coach's high-octane style has found favour with his squad, who started unbeaten in the Championship. For Peterborough, survival is the goal, and the Western Homes has already proven to be a tricky venue so far this season. It's traditional, compact, hugely atmospheric, and as Darren Ferguson said this week, nights under the lights like this are why the club has worked so hard to get back into the second tier of English football. The two sides ahead of kick-off, Peterborough with Pym in goal, Ward, Kent, Thompson and Butler the back four, Norburn, Grant, Burrows and Smodix in midfield, Clark, Harris and Marriott up front. For West Brom, Johnston the goalkeeper, O'Shea, Bartley and Ajayi, Furlong, Livermore, Mowat and Townsend, Diangana, Phillips and Grant. It's a huge night in the Championship and a huge night across the TalkSport network following another busy game day. This the fifth of 5 live and exclusive commentaries from the Premier League and the EFL2. Already in the Championship today, wins for Bristol City, for Fulham who've gone top, Huddersfield 4-0 over Reading, Millwall beat Blackpool, Preston beat Swansea, QPR second after a 2-0 victory over Coventry. But can West Brom propel themselves back into those automatic promotion places tonight? Peterborough in blue and white, West Bromwich Albion in their black change kits. Full respect from both sets of supporters. More than 10,000 in at London Road tonight. The Western Home Stadium away to the left-hand side. The old Moyes end behind the goal. 2,000 West Bromwich Albion supporters. It is as traditional a venue as you're likely to see in the Championship, Adrian Clark. Yeah. And we've got a terrace away to the right-hand side.
It's glorious, isn't it? I love to see a terrace, and it's absolutely packed away to our right. Cross fans in good voice. It's a bristling atmosphere, isn't it, underneath the lights here at the Western Home Stadium. Big contingent, of course, from West Bromwich Albion have travelled. It is a perfect evening for football, and I'm expecting a good game here.
As we stand to the right of the halfway line, midway inside the half to the right, our TalkSport commentary position, right at the very back of the old main stand with its wooden seats and pillars and low slung roof. Away to the right, the terrace behind the goal, the two-tiered family stand on the far side, and the West Bromwich Albion fans away to our left. The sun still setting, lovely warm late summer's evening in Cambridgeshire, and on your home of the EFL, goals galore potentially, certainly entertainment guaranteed tonight. Peterborough against West Brom, and West Brom get us underway, playing from left to right this opening half, all in black towards the home end of the ground. Peterborough in blue and white, playing from right to left. Two sides, of course, with contrasting aims for the season. West Bromwich started the league season unbeaten, and they've won their last 3 in the Championship. For Peterborough, it's all about survival in the Championship. Their first season at this level since 2013, and Christy Pym, the goalkeeper, will take a goal kick away to the right-hand side, and it's 0-0.
Yeah, the first thing to pick up on is the shape. We speculated that it might be a change to a back 4 for Peterborough tonight. It's not. It looks to me as if it's a back 3 with Dan Butler, who's often a left back, playing as the left side is centre back, and that means that Harrison Burrows, who is a full back by trade or a wide man, that's been playing in midfield of late, he goes back to left wing back. So it's the same shape that Peterborough have liked to play. They started the season with a 4-4-2 at Luton. It went horribly wrong. They reverted back to 3-4-1-2 for the remaining games, and that's what we're seeing here tonight.
That's the voice of the former Arsenal winger Adrian Clark alongside me in the TalkSport 2 commentary position. There was an injury stoppage for a few moments there. Ollie Norburn for Peterborough United just limping away, and he looks like he's going to try and run this off. Meanwhile, West Brom have a throw right in front of us on this near side, just inside opposition territory. You can see Darren Ferguson with his arms folded, son of Sir Alex Ferguson, of course, the Peterborough boss, the legend at the club, who has now won 4 promotions in his time at Peterborough United, various different spells, and just a few yards to his left, very tight, tiny technical areas here, Clarkey. Valérien Ismaël.
They're almost breathing on each other, aren't they? But yeah, look, Darren Ferguson, He's a really experienced manager, loves this place, and very, very successful, of course. And look, I don't think he'll be intimidated by West Brom or Ismail.
Here is Phillips tearing forward for West Brom, plays it square towards the edge of the penalty area. Grant with the snapshot, well blocked by Frankie Kent. Ball out on the near side of the field with Diangana with the dyed blonde hair. Slips in Furlong inside the penalty area. Tried to drag it back across and miss-hit the ball entirely. Skews it well wide. Goal kick. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0. And you're listening to TalkSport 2.5 goal.
There we see West Bromwich Albion in a nutshell. They've hardly strung 2 or 3 passes together, but the front three come alive. Carlon Grant gets himself into a great position, strikes at goal. Very, very direct from West Bromwich Albion. It's a terrific block. It really is from Frankie Kent.
A super playing surface here at Peterborough United. Lovely, lush and green, not a blemish on the surface. Flicked down the middle from Johnson Clark-Harris, the burly Peterborough number 9 who won the League One Golden Boot last season. Towering header away by Kent at the other end, but it's West Brom with Diangana, edge of the D, lightning quick on the attack. West Brom, pace throughout this side, and now Furlong on the near side of the field plays a 1-2 with Livermore, and he's in behind Burrows. He crosses on the right again, headed away by Dan Butler this time for Peterborough. Frenetic start to the game as the ball goes out of play for a goal kick to the home team. 1-0.
I think that's the right word, frenetic. It really is. Everything that West Bromwich Albion do is done at pace. It's done at high intensity. We've seen it twice now. Darnell Furlong at right wing back plays a 1-2, gets the wrong side of young Harrison Burrows, the 19-year-old, and he puts a decent ball in the box that's repelled by Peterborough. They look really sharp, I have to say, the visitors.
What a day we've had across the TalkSport network. It all started with Manchester City 5, Arsenal 0 on TalkSport, and here on 2 we brought you the 1-1 draw in the East Midlands derby. Derby 1, Forest 1. There's Furlong from the right back position for West Brom, knocks the ball back to the goalkeeper Johnston, whose clearance reaches the halfway line. Sam Johnston, still very much a West Bromwich Albion player, drafted into the England squad again this week. Of course, it was expected he would leave the club over the summer after his impressive displays in the Premier League last season, and that despite West Brom conceding a heck of a lot of goals as they finished in 19th place. Peterborough on the attack now with Ward, far side of the field, crosses, turned away by Bartley at the near post, and it's a corner to Peterborough in front of the packed away end to the left hand side.
Yeah, it's got the home fans out of their seats. Joe Ward is a very, very adventurous fullback, virtually a right winger, and he showed good pace there to get the wrong side of Connor Townsend. The ball was into the right area. Terrific piece of defending from Bartley.
Burrows will go across to take the corner, away on the far side, gets it back from Grant, rolls the ball back 20 yards to Ward. Ward's first time cross up towards Thompson with a looping header, and Thompson, the centre half, the Peterborough captain, sends it spiralling high over the bar, goalless.
He's got great ammunition, Joe Ward, from that right hand side. We saw it, didn't we, with the impact that he made in the game here against Derby County. He just gets into those areas and puts it into the corridor of uncertainty. That was in the right zone. 2 players went up for it. I think Clark-Harris and Thompson were both on the end of that. Never really threatened Johnston's goal though. But yeah, this is every bit as sort of attack minded as we hoped it would be.
The 3 o'clock kick-off on TalkSport 2 earlier this afternoon. West Ham's 100% start to the season ended by Crystal Palace. 2-2 it finished at London Stadium. The 5:30 kick-off on TalkSport was not without incident. Liverpool won, Chelsea won, and a highly controversial Liverpool equaliser. Mo Salah from the penalty spot, that after Reece James was sent off after a VAR check for what was deemed to be a deliberate handball. Much more reaction to that to come across the network.
Chelsea's players were not happy.
I think they're still surrounding the referee, Clarkie. Ball driven crossfield by Furlong into the path of Mowat, onto that favoured left foot. He can hit them from distance, can Mowat. Now Townsend crosses, in swinging, deflected out to Furlong, who smacks it wide on the volley. Very sharp interplay once again from West Bromwich Albion, and this time the right wing back, Darnell Furlong, the son of the former QPR striker Paul, smacks it well wide on his right boot.
What a volley on his right foot is 20-25 yards wide in the end. What a pass that preceded it from Furlong. He has fizzed it into Alex Mowat, into a great little pocket of space, 23-24 yards from goal. That is the sign of a really confident player. And you can just see, can't you, with those black shirts down beneath us, wearing the West Brom badge, they are playing with real belief at the moment.
Under Valerian Ismail with this high counter press and full-blooded style. It's Peterborough 0, West Brom 0 on TalkSport 2. We're in the 8th minute of the game. Here in the Championship, where Peterborough got their first win back in the second tier against Derby in their first home league game back in the division, and a yellow card for Norwood as he stretches and brings down Diangana, who is looking to speed through the middle. Diangana certainly beat Norwood for pace, and a yellow card for the Peterborough midfielder.
Yeah, he's just too sharp there, wasn't he, Diangana? Yeah, Ollie Norburn is a good player. He puts his foot in. He's an excellent player at the base of that midfield, but he's maybe not the most mobile. Just over those short distances, West Bromwich Albion have got some real nippy players, and there we saw Diangana just stretch away from Norburn, and he trips him up. For me, it's a foul, not a yellow card. Not this early in the game. That's a little bit fussy, I think, from the match official.
Peterborough holding a very high defensive line here, midway inside their own half of the field. The free kick is just inside Peterborough territory. West Brom all in black. It's clipped high on the diagonal by Furlong, flicked away by Thompson, and out of play for a West Brom throw right by the corner flag, 0-0.
Yeah, well, that's obviously part of the game plan from Darren Fergus. You know that they've worked very, very hard on defending set pieces in the last couple of days, and clearly he wants to ask the question and hold that high line and make West Brom put it into the right areas.
Townsend will take the long throw. You're listening to TalkSport 2. The three centre-halves all forward for West Brom. It's in towards Ajayi. Well headed away by Clark Harris for Peterborough, back doing his defensive duty diligently. Now Townsend away on that far side of the field once again. The West Brom left. Good interplay involving him and Grant, and Carlin Grant wins the throw once again deep inside Peterborough territory. West Brom trying to get on the front foot in the game. They've had the majority possession so far. Peterborough holding firm. Cross comes in from that far side from Grant again. Stooping to head clear is Ward for Peterborough, and now Burrows looking to launch a very quick counter-attack. He has the ball on the halfway line, plays it square to Grant, who floats it through the middle. Well intercepted on the cover by Dar O'Shea for West Bromwich Albion, who can build again.
Yeah, great work rate there from Jack Marriott. You see why he's so popular here at Peterborough, just working his socks off. I saw him at Derby, and he's so quick and so direct, and always a danger in behind. He didn't look happy. I spoke to him on the EFL show actually here on TalkSport 2 a few weeks ago, and he just sounds so pleased to be back at what he would call home, and you can tell that he's willing to leave every drop out there on the pitch tonight.
The EFL show every Monday and Friday evening on TalkSport 2. Adrian Clark and Joe Shannon, your commentary team tonight at the Western Home Stadium. 10 minutes on the clock. It's Peterborough United 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. And we mentioned Peterborough United unbeaten at home in the Championship so far this season. Darren Ferguson feels they should have had 6 points from 6. They were pegged back by a 96th minute equaliser from Cardiff City in their last home league game. West Brom have won 3 on the spin in the Championship and are still unbeaten. High ball up on the halfway line as the sky continues to darken. We can't quite see the sky overhead, but if we sit down in the commentary position, you can see that it's kind of turning a lovely midnight blue, and the floodlights are on, and it's a terrific atmosphere here, Clark.
It's a fantastic atmosphere. It's just amazing. I was here in January, empty stadium. Yeah. It was just, it's very soulless. I'll tell you what I noticed when I came in tonight. Came in at pitch level. You talked about the grass, the playing service. I could smell the grass, the freshly cut grass, and there aren't many better smells out there, right? Absolutely glorious.
You get the sight and the sounds of the fans assembling before kick-off and queuing up at the turnstiles. They've got classic old turnstiles here at Peterborough United as well, all paper tickets. As West Brom come forward now, Diangana on the edge of the penalty area, well tackled, firmly but fairly by Buckland, then that high press to win it back from West Brom, but the referee penalises Livermore. It's a free kick given by James Linnington, surrounded by players in black shirts, and Peterborough United get away with it.
Well, they swarm all over the Peterborough players, don't they? West Bromwich Albion. Great play initially from Dan Butler, who settled in well, I think, in this left-sided centre-back role. Really good cover on the inside to deny Diangana, and then Livermore was on it in a flash to win the loose ball. And for me, it was a fair challenge. Referee deemed it over-aggressive, and it's a moment of respite for Posh.
It's a remarkable, relentless counter-press that Valérien Ismaël's sides employ. Remember, he led Barnsley to the playoff positions in the Championship last season for the first time in well over 20 years, and that despite Barnsley having the youngest squad and one of the smallest budgets in the division. And now here he arrives at newly relegated West Brom, who of course have ambitions of another instant return to the Premier League. The flick downfield by Clark Harris for Peterborough, who have slightly more modest hopes this season. Burrows steers the ball back into his own half, and Butler, now Kent at the heart of that three-man back line, tall and slender, rolls it back to goalkeeper Christy Pym, all in a claret goalkeeping kit, hammers it high downfield, the ball angling down the right, covering header away by Townsend for West Brom, then Mowat hooks it over his shoulder, and out to play it goes for a Peterborough throw on the far side in their right back position. And Darren Ferguson, I think, Clark, he will be happy with what he's seen, I think, overall in the first 12 and a half minutes.
They've handled it, haven't they? They really come at you, West Bromwich Albion. They don't give you a moment's peace, but his players haven't panicked. They've been strong, they've been resilient, and they've carried a threat on one or two occasions going forward as well. It's still the early stages. It still feels frenetic. That ball is a hot potato. Doesn't feel as if we've settled into any kind of pattern yet. It's early burly Championship football, that's for sure.
Early days, of course, of the season, but West Brom know that they could jump back into the top two tonight. Peterborough, who begin the evening a couple of points clear of the relegation zone. Very early days, of course, across the divisions. Reminder in the Championship today, wins for Bristol City, Fulham, who are top, Huddersfield, Millwall, Preston and QPR. Clark Harris trying to reach a long ball downfield. Johnson out to the edge of his penalty area to head it clear, the West Brom goalkeeper, and Liverpool flicks it square to Diangana, twisting and turning, teasing those Peterborough defenders on the halfway line. And now an opportunity for Mowat to glide forward into opposition territory. Mowat, wearing number 27, angles the ball out to the left-hand side, and Townsend is on the left-hand edge of the penalty area. Was he fouled? Yes, he was. Ward had got the wrong side of Townsend, and it's a free kick to West Bromwich Albion in a very dangerous position here, right on the corner of the 18-yard box at the London Road end. It's 0-0.
Yeah, definite foul. Really, really sharp 1-2 again from West Bromwich Albion. It's been a feature of their tactical game plan. Get the ball out to the wide wing backs who are looking to play with those wide forwards on the inside. 1-2, quick 1 and 2 touch into play, and either they get in behind for the cross or they get fouled, as we see here. And this is a great position for Alex Mowat, left-footed.
It's like flashes of lightning sometimes for West Brom. Blink and you miss it. Mowat whips it in left-footed. Good header away by Thompson, running back towards his own goal, right on the edge of the 6-yard box, nods it clear into that terrace away to the right, and it's a West Bromwich Albion corner, their first of the game.
Yeah, one of the key features of Alex Mowat's deliveries is the pace. He always puts whip on it. That's why they're so difficult to defend. Nathan Thompson there at the near stick did ever so well. Probably not quite enough height on that particular cross in from Mowat, and it allowed Thompson to knock it behind for a corner. But yeah, there's no let up in the pressure, is there, for Peterborough?
You get the sense that the home side are having to summon every measure of concentration that they've got here. Corner to West Brom at the home end. It's 0-0. Quarter of an hour gone on TalkSport 2. Furlong will take it short to Grant. Grant on the corner of the penalty area, smashes it high over the top. Peterborough left him completely unmarked. Grant had just peeled off, but then the finish was high and wayward, and it just about stayed within the confines of the terrace.
Yeah, look, I think obviously Peterborough are happy that that's how that panned out, but it could easily have gone wrong for them, because they did deliberately leave Carl and Grant unmarked, because they're concentrating on getting bodies inside the box. They want to clear the expected cross. But what I'll say there, I'll credit West Bromwich Albion for showing a little bit of variety. I think they're going to have to this season, because what they've done up until this point has worked so well that every opponent will just drill and drill and drill in preparation for what's to come. So it's really vital, I think, for Ismaël and the players to come up with some new routines.
West Bromwich Albion, the dominant side in possession so far in the game, but neither goalkeeper's had a serious save to make. Out comes Christy Pym to the right-hand edge of his penalty area to take the ball, the Peterborough goalkeeper. Tomorrow on TalkSport 2, full commentary of Rennes against Paris Saint-Germain, as we expect Lionel Messi to make his long-awaited debut for the Parisians. That's a 7:45 kick-off with myself and the former Ireland striker David Connolly. Then on Tuesday, EFL Trophy action, Charlton against Crawley. Alfie Reynolds and Sam Parkin will talk you through that one. And then on Wednesday evening on TalkSport 2, we start our coverage of the World Cup qualifiers as we head into the international break. Denmark against Scotland, a 7:45 kick-off with Ian Danter and the former Scotland striker, always passionate on Scotland commentary, the indefatigable Chris Iwelumo. Now then, West Brom have a free kick, which they take and play it out wide to the far side, the left. Grant goes on the outside, a deflected cross up to the penalty spot, spun away off the boot of Grant, high up into the air. Peterborough can't really get a foothold in possession, Clarkey, at the moment, but they do have it now with Ward, and Ward plays it down the right-hand side. Again, Johnston very quick off his line, the West Brom goalkeeper, to win it back.
What a different role Sam Johnston's got this season. I don't remember him doing that at all last season, because West Bromwich Albion was so deep. They played on the edge of their own 18-yard box.
Lovely ball by Mowat, did high down the left-hand touchline. Grant has got it right by the corner flag, and Townsend joining him inside the penalty area, spinning, turning and laying it back to Grant. Good save down low by Pym. Had to react very smartly. The ball flashed at him through a crowd of bodies. Best chance of the game so far, but it's 0-0. Another cross from Townsend, and Furlong flying in at the far post. It's a looping header over the top, and Christy Pym, the Peterborough goalkeeper, has kept the score at 0-0.
Yeah, it was a sharp reflex save, wasn't it? Carlin Grant again, right-footed, looking to just bend it into that far bottom corner. He anticipated it nice and early, Christy Pym. Really good save. But it's relentless from West Bromwich Albion. You know, we're not too far into this game. I think they've had 6 efforts on goal already. And look, this little break in play for the player getting treatment. Is it Darnell Furlong over
Furlong,
there? Yeah. Look, Peterborough's players, they're happy as Larry. just to get this little bit of a breather here, get some drinks on board, and get some instructions as well from Darren Ferguson.
Is this a playing style, Clarkey? And as we watch Furlong still being treated, it is still 0-0, of course. First real save of the match made by Pym. Is this a playing style, West Brom and the Valérien Ismaël, that is unique in terms of what we've seen in the Championship? Really, Marcelo Bielsa's leads aside?
Yeah, I can't really name another side that plays with this much intensity, with this much focus on press and the counter press, and in terms of everything they do at such high speed inside the opposition half. It's very different. We saw it with Barnsley to some degree last season, but it was a bit more agricultural. He's got better players to work with here that have got that extra bit of technical quality inside the final third. And when you get talented players with quality and skill working unbelievably hard, playing super aggressive football, it's a good combination. It really is.
Furlong has been treated and he's ready to come back on, the West Brom defender. They'll be temporarily down to 10 men, the team all in black. The home supporters trying to get behind Peterborough, behind that goal away to the right hand side. Peterborough in blue and white. They have been dominated in possession thus far, and Sam Johnston has had very little to do in the West Bromwich Albion goal. And just on Carlin Grant, just a solitary goal last season in West Brom colours. Of course, he was ploughing very much a lone furrow for much of that Premier League campaign. Already off the mark for the season in the first home league game of the season for West Brom, a 3-2 win over Luton, and he's somebody, Adrian Clark, who we expect to score goals at this level.
Of course he will. He did it before with Huddersfield. He was prolific as well for Charlton Athletic. So yeah, no qualms about Carlin Grant. He'll score goals this season. What is interesting is that the main striker is Matt Phillips. Now Matt Phillips has made his name, of course, down the years as a winger. Yeah. And I've even seen him play at wing back. So really interesting move from Ismaël, reinventing Matt Phillips. But he's got the traits, hasn't he? He's got the power, he's got the pace to play in that position. I don't think it's an issue for him.
Just trying to reach a long, high raking pass upfield by Johnston, the goalkeeper. Furlong is back onto the field, by the way, for West Brom. His re-arrival was delayed a little bit. I think he might have had a cut to the nose or a nosebleed, possibly, that they were just sorting out on the near side touchline, but everything is A-OK. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0. 21 minutes played on your home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, where we brought you commentary of Forest 1, Derby 1 earlier. Ward on the right-hand side, offside flag is up. It was an amazing crossfield ball, 50 yards from Butler to find him, but Ward was in an offside position.
Yeah. What the Peterborough centre-backs have is good distribution. All of them. We've seen Nathan Thompson hit one over the top for Johnson Clark-Harris to chase there. Frankie Kent. Butler has got that in his armoury as well. Peterborough are going to have to go direct. They want to weather the storm and then launch their attacks quickly. And they want to launch those attacks quickly because they hold an incredibly high line. The one payoff in the way that they play their football, West Brom, is that it's risky. You've got the three centre-halves right on the halfway line, and if you can find the right ball over the top, then you can get in. And that is why Sam Johnson has had to become a sweeper keeper. And we've seen it 2 or 3 times already, really fast off his line.
The game has just settled down in the last few moments after that brief injury stoppage, but then West Brom pressing high and hard and so high up the field. Burrows receiving the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, and there was Furlong, the West Brom right wing back, snapping at his heels, right in his face, and in the end it's out for a Peterborough throw right by their own corner flag.
And when they close down, they don't just do it in a timid way.
It's ferocious.
Like the actual challenge is so aggressive. The ball flies off the pitch, so quickly. It's but yeah, they're tough to play against, but let's credit Peterborough, they're handling it.
Just about, as Burrows slices the ball out of play on his left boot. It's a throw for West Brom, who are dominating possession and, as you'd expect, dominating territory. Both that territory statistic, if you like, a hallmark of Valerian Ismail teams. Even if they don't necessarily have all that much of the ball, it is a very direct, quick up and atom style.
What you won't see West Brom do, and they did it a lot under Slaven Bilic when they got promoted from the Championship, playing out from the back. Goalkeeper to the 3 centre-halves, knocking the ball around, playing it through the lines. We're into this game now, midway through the first half. I can't remember them doing it once.
They've not exchanged passes, have they, the centre-halves?
It's get the ball into the Peterborough's half as quickly as possible.
Peterborough 0, West Brom 0. Midway through the first half. Fascinating contrast of styles between the two teams. Marriott with a layoff for Peterborough, looking to squeeze the ball out wide on the angle to Burrows. Burrows had already made the forward run though, and Marriott only succeeded in knocking it straight out of play. Seen very little from Marriott or Clark-Harris so far. Johnson Clark-Harris still to get off the mark for Peterborough in the Championship, and Jack Marriott still waiting for his first goal of his second spell at the club. Grant is tripped by Furlong. I think he was looking for it, and now Carlin Grant has gone down, the West Brom striker, and the medical personnel are going to be called on by the referee, James Linnington. All sorts going on the near side touchline. Ismail and Ferguson, the two bosses, just yards apart. Darren Ferguson with a Sir Alex Ferguson sort of stare on his face at the moment, hands on hips. I tell you what, Clarkie, those tiny technical areas, you don't get those at the Emirates, do you?
You really don't. You don't get much room to sort of pace up and down, do you, when things aren't going well, when you're pensive. It's all a little bit pokey, but
that's part of the charm, isn't it?
I think so. This is a great ground, and it's great that they've modernised it to some degree, but you can still smell the history of the stadium.
Mix of the old and new. Former Arsenal winger Adrian Clark alongside me, put in from a stretching Norburn to dispossess Phillips, and then Thompson will hack it clear from the right hand side. Big cheers from the home supporters, and then sliced out of play by Barkley. It's a Peterborough throw, and the home fans here, there's a siege mentality about them. They can see that it was always going to be a tough game for Peterborough United, so it has proved, but Peterborough holding their own with the score still 0-0. It almost feels a bit like a cup tie.
Yeah, it really does feel like a cup tie, and I think that siege mentality, you're absolutely bang on. And they're energised, the fans, I think, by the type of football match they're seeing. This is an old-fashioned sort of hell for leather contest, isn't it, in the Championship? I'm loving the action that we're seeing. No goals, but lots and lots of physicality.
Adrian Durham, TalkSport's very own celebrity Peterborough fan, is here tonight in the stand on the far side, the double-decker stand. Yeah. He's got his blue and white Peterborough shirt on.
Of course he has, yeah. It's a mad dash, wasn't it, from Carrow Road earlier?
Yeah, he was presenting Game Day Live, was Adrian, as always. And I think he'll be happy so far. 0-0, 26 gone. Good feet by Grant for West Brom. Stepping in field from the left wing. 35 yards from goal. Pops it up towards the right-hand side. Covering header away by Burrows. Comes back to Carlin Grant. He flicks the ball into the penalty area. Nobody there in a black shirt. through it goes to Christy Pym, and Peterborough can just release some more of that pressure again.
And in moments like this, they have to just relax, get a breather. Goalkeeper Christy Pym, take your time over it. Just allow the players in front of you just to get their breath back. It's really important to take the sting out of this contest wherever possible from Peterborough's point of view, especially while the scores are level.
West Brom do have Jordan Hugill among their substitutes, signed on loan, of course, this week for the rest of the season from Norwich City. Among the Peterborough subs, Siriki Dembele, who's scored in both home league matches so far this season, and Jack Taylor, who is a recent return from injury, hasn't played at all so far this year, Jack Taylor. Here is Furlong as he fouled by Burrows, facing towards his own goal in the right wing back position. Yes, he was. West Brom get themselves a free kick 10 yards shy of the halfway line.
Yeah, look, Jack Taylor came in, I think, from Barnet in non-league, and he's a good player. Did ever so well in League One. But yeah, you might want to watch him brief tonight. If you've been out for a while, this is not the kind of game to come back into. It is so frenetic. And I have to say that Ollie Norburn and George Grant and Sammy Smodics, they've barely had a kick so far, and I think part of that is down to the fact that Peterborough are playing so direct, but also it's because West Bromwich Albion do not give you a moment's peace. When you do take a touch, you have to move it on very, very quickly. All of those guys can pass the ball if you give them time and space, but there is no time or space.
Livermore, midway inside Peterborough territory, dinks it high down the middle, too much on it for Phillips. Out of play it goes for a goal kick, and for all of West Bromwich Albion's territorial and to some extent possession-based dominance, Christy Pym has only had that one save to make in the first 28 and a half minutes, and that's why it's still goalless on TalkSport 2. There's certainly a difference in the sides in terms of physicality. West Brom a much bigger team, and Peterborough far more diminutive. If you take out the three centre halves and Clark Harris upfield, it's a small side, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
maybe Norburn, I suppose, as well, is one of the bigger ones.
Just look at that West Brom. They are almost all of them are at least 6 foot. It's remarkable. But look, you have to play to your strengths, don't you? And Ismail has got his way of playing, but he also inherited a group of players that I think are well equipped to play that style of football. Well, they've proved that, haven't they, across the first 4 games or so.
Still unbeaten West Brom, and they've won their last 3 coming into tonight. Mowat in the left back position, clatters the ball high downfield, long towards Phillips, headed away on the stretch by Thompson, then a miscue by Norburn. He's giving it straight back to Phillips, plays it square to Livermore, midway inside opposition territory. West Brom looking for the game's opening goal. Furlong, corner of the 18-yard box, whips in the cross in swinging, diving header away by Kent. The ball comes back to Mowat, flicks it high into the penalty area, great control in his chest by Diangana, high ball up into the 18-yard box, and Pym is there to pluck it out of the air after a cushion header from his defender Thompson, and Peterborough again managed to snuff out the danger.
Yeah, I'm not sure he meant it, but it was the perfect header, wasn't it? Because Thompson just headed it straight up in the air, and it just gave the time for Christy Pym to get those arms above his head to claim the loose ball. Good play though from Grady Diangana, making that lovely little dart into the box to get in beyond. There's not much space for the Baggies forwards to operate, but they are looking to get in behind in that little quadrant between the goal line and the 18-yard box. That little patch there is where they're looking to get into, but Peterborough, to their credit, are keeping West Brom out of that zone pretty well so far.
Mowat on the halfway line, scored a beauty at Blackburn last weekend, did Alex Mowat, who was a regular under Valerian Ismail at Barnsley last season, of course, and you often see new head coaches bringing across 1 or 2 of their favoured players to
Son off,
to a
they
new
call
club.
them, don't they? Son off.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'd probably get ribbed mercilessly, because you're the gaffer's favourite. It's obvious. First player he wanted to sign was Alex Mowat, but he's important for them. He really is. He knows exactly what the manager needs and wants, and in a sense, he's the manager out on the pitch, because he's the one that's completely across the style. Yeah, completely across it.
31 minutes played, 0-0. A game, a few chances, but a game of great intensity and vigour, particularly from West Brom in their approach. Here is Furlong, lots of space to drive into on the right hand side. He's just into Peterborough territory, steps on the ball, Stops and goes square and sideways to Livermore. Livermore from the lip of the centre circle, back to the tall, rangy Bartley, 6'4", orange boots on. Now Furlong again down the near side, right back who loves to get forward. Mowat in towards Grant, spins and turns, rocked though by Thompson. Thompson was straight into Carlin Grant there, knew exactly what he was going to do, and then the big defender, the number 4 for Peterborough, the skipper tonight, wins the free kick on the halfway line.
That was brilliant. It really was. The way that he was so strong and decisive to get in front of Grant, and then he looks for the foul on Livermore, sort of throws his body into the midfield and buys the free kick. He's had an excellent first half hour, Nathan Thompson. His passing's been good. He's dribbled out defence very confidently, and his clearance has been excellent.
Good ball by Clark Harris. Ward corner of the penalty area. Good tackle from Semi Ajayi just when he needed to step in and nudge the ball away. The West Bromwich Albion defender making his first start this season, his first start under Valerian Ismail. If he hadn't made the challenge, Ajayi, Peterborough had 3-on-1, including Marriott right on the edge of the 18-yard box, but Ajayi timed it well, and in the end it's out of play for a West Brom throw right on the far side, long way from my commentary position in their left back spot.
Yeah, no, they just come alive every now and again, don't they, Peterborough United, and they spring an attack and they spring it in a flash, and West Bromwich Albion's defenders have got to be so careful.
2,000 West Brom fans away to the left-hand side, behind the goal, almost all of them on their feet, lots of replica shirts on show everywhere you look around the ground. Smodix plays it to the right-hand side. Clark Harris bundled over on the edge of the penalty area. No foul, says the referee, and the Peterborough supporters and Darren Ferguson cannot believe it.
I can't believe it.
It's got to be a free kick.
You wouldn't go to ground in that position. It's a striker. He's bearing down on goal. He's about to enter the penalty box. Why would you fling yourself to the floor? You just wouldn't. I think the referee has misjudged that situation, and it's harsh.
Adrian Clark, formerly at Arsenal and Southend United, as Diangana darts forward down the middle. Was he fouled? Blocked off by Butler, and this time James Linnington does give the free kick, and again, well, this time the decision is correct, but Peterborough still feel aggrieved that they didn't get a free kick at the other end. This one for West Brom is midway inside opposition territory.
Yeah, it's a long way out for the shot. You could shoot from here, but I would imagine they will look to create an angle for a cross. But that was slightly alarming from a posh point of view, because the way they broke on them, there's a lot of space there. Grady Diangana, who's been very sprightly in the first half, drew the foul. But they're in no hurry to take it, I think.
No, in fact, the ball is sitting alone on the near side of the field until Ajayi eventually jogs across to retrieve it.
So, I mean, I guess they've come from the Premier League. They're used to people just fetching the balls for them, aren't they?
No such luck or luxury here. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0. 10 minutes of the first half remaining. This is TalkSport 2. Busy day in the EFL. Recap all the scores, the results from today in just a few moments. Mowat hands on hips. Looks like he might go for goal from here. He instead clips it at an angle into the penalty area towards Semi Ajayi. Boot was high from Ajayi, and he caught Butler. The ball spirals out of play via a Peterborough clearance, and the referee is going to come across and speak to Dan Butler, and I wonder whether he'll have a word with his assistant on the near side. He must have caught sight of that. In the end, no, I think he's just signalled for a West Brom corner. Or has he, Adrian Clark?
Something's going on inside the referee's mind here. I think he's given a free kick
to Peterborough
United for a high foot.
And he's explaining that to Jake Livermore.
Yeah.
All a little unclear for a few moments, but James Linnington, I think, has come to the right decision.
I think so. Yeah. Bit of a kick clash, isn't there, between the officials and the Peterborough goalkeeper?
Yeah, shades of purple.
Yeah, just different shades of purple. I kind of almost wondered who was who there for a second.
Well, in the end, it's a drop ball straight into the gloves of Christy Pym. Of course, drop balls are uncontested these days.
Yeah.
Pym clatters the ball long, bypasses the Peterborough midfield, high into the dark evening sky. 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Wins in the Championship today for Bristol City away at Cardiff. Fulham 3, Stoke 0. Fulham go top. Huddersfield 4, Reading 0. Vilko Paunovic under pressure. Millwall 2, Blackpool 1, much needed for Millwall. Preston 3, Swansea 1, so that's back-to-back home wins for Preston, and QPR second after a 2-0 victory over Coventry City. Middlesbrough 1, Blackburn 1. Hull goalless with Bournemouth. Luton likewise with Sheffield United, who are yet to win under Slavica Kanovic. Barnsley 1, Birmingham 1. And in the 12:30 kick-off in the Championship, it finished Derby 1, Nottingham Forest 1, live on TalkSport 2. Clark Harris trying to bully his way past 3 in black, away to the right-hand side. The Peterborough striker doesn't get any change from his opponents though, and Butler cutters the ball forward to nobody in particular. Straight through it goes to the West Brom keeper Johnston, who then hammers it high deep into opposition territory. Great covering header from Butler on the stretch to spin and turn and use his neck muscles to direct it into the gloves of goalkeeper Pym.
He's performed ever so well in this first half. He's used, normally he's an adventurous left back, but he's been asked to play this left side centre back role, and looks very comfortable there. That was excellent because it was dropping out of the sky and he was under pressure. Really calm header back to the keeper.
Smonix was looking to burst his way through the middle. The Peterborough number 7 just a few moments ago, one of the smallest players on the field at just 5'6", but again West Brom clear. Again they hack it long downfield. Kent across to cover for Peterborough, who are growing in confidence in the game, you feel, as we tick towards the 38-minute mark. Still 0-0 the score. Just the one save that Christy Pym has had to make, and Peterborough giving West Brom all they've got, and he's merited behind Bartley into the area. Shot is curled straight at the goalkeeper.
Ever so busy play there from Jack Marriott. He does not give defenders a moment's peace, and there Semi Ajayi just switched off, and he thought he had more time than he did, and Jack Marriott just nipped in, robbed the ball, and then he's bearing down on goal. He's got a decision to make. Has he got the confidence to travel a few further yards and commit the keeper, or is he going to take the shot on early? He goes early, for me, too early. It's a relatively routine save for Sam Johnson, but that will give Peterborough United real confidence, I think.
He's still not scored since his return to the club, Jack Marriott, but has been struggling for fitness. In fact, he played an hour for the club's under-23s earlier this week as he looks to work his way back to full pelt, if you like. Clearly a player with potential in the Championship. Didn't quite work out for him at Derby County in the end, though of course Derby have been mired in difficulty, as we know, over the last season or so. O'Shea, lovely pirouette and turn from O'Shea, the centre half on the halfway line, and now Ajayi, tall and leggy, out to the near side, and Furlong pushes it down the right. Butler shoving the back of Diangana, and the referee gives West Brom a free kick on this near side touch here. You don't think so, Clarkie?
No, I thought it probably was a foul, but in the context of this game it was nothing, because we've seen so many full-blooded challenges, haven't we, and the referee hasn't blown up for every single one of them. He wasn't happy with it.
You're a winger. Surely you've got to be looking for the forwards union or something like that.
I was used to being on the receiving end of those, let me tell you. Yeah. But I always thought it was a bit of a badge of honour if you had a few bruises around your ankles from full-backs.
Most foul players, that's that kind of thing. Into the 40th minute of the game. This free kick to West Brom, right in front of the Peterborough fans in this main stand. Lots of pillars and wooden seats. Crossfield goes Livermore, the muscular West Brom captain, sets up Townsend, brought it down well on the far side with the left wing back. Infield to Mowat, and Mowat's delivery is poor. Straight into the gloves of Christy Pym. And Peterborough, organisationally, have done a very effective job so far at keeping it 0-0.
You can see that they've worked very hard on preparing for this game. They had the whole week because they were knocked out of the Carabao Cup early by Plymouth Argyle, so they've had a full week's training prepping for what's to come, and you can tell, you really can. They look really organised. When you have to put it into real practice for real, it's tough, because West Brom closed down with such intensity, but so far so good. I think Darren Ferguson and his coaching staff have done a good job during the week to get the players into this kind of shape and mindset as well.
One thing the manager will be aware of is that Peterborough are yet to keep a clean sheet this season in any competition. They were hit for 4 here by lower league Plymouth in the first round of the Carabao Cup. Not a competition that will be a priority to Peterborough, of course, this season, but an early defensive warning perhaps. They've tightened up somewhat since then, but as I say, still yet to keep that elusive clean sheet.
They leaked a lot in League One.
They did.
They've never been a defensive side. They're always a team that are slightly vulnerable, because they want to be on the front foot. They want to attack matches. So it's not going to be easy for them. In the Championship, they're going to have to adjust for certain fixtures. There'll be a horses for courses approach. And I think for this particular match, they've come up with a game plan that they think will work for here and now. I don't believe this is the way that Peterborough will play all season. They're going to play more football between the lines. Today, how they're going to... Yeah, it's a battle. And they've got to be unbelievably resilient, but also they have to try to hurt this high line of West Bromwich Albion. It's so difficult when you're under pressure to make a pass from someone who's just sprinting at you, to make a quality forward pass, to clip over the top for a runner. It's not easy, but it only takes one, and they've got the potential to do that.
Adrian Clark, former Arsenal winger, played in the EFL at Southend United too. Free kick on the far side to Peterborough. Home supporters on that lower tier of the main stand, up out of their seats in frustration, shouting towards the referee, and that familiar sight as half-time draws near of supporters heading for the concourse area. It's just one of those little things in the game, Clarky, one of those little quirks that I've missed over the last 18 months.
Yeah, so many things we've missed, but yeah, there's a number of people going to get the early burger.
2 minutes of the first half to go. Peterborough 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. Talksport 2. Free kick pumped high and long by Ward. The header won by Clark Harris. The ball spiralling back into the 18-yard box. Headed away by Livermore for West Brom. Only to the edge of the box, and Burrows slices an effort wide on his left foot, but he's been a potent scorer for Peterborough so far this season. Scored in each of their first 2 home league matches, and it was maybe worth a speculative try.
It was, yeah. He didn't quite get fully behind the shot, did he? There was a little bit of slice on the ball that took some edge off the power, and that's why the ball spun wide in the end. But he's full of confidence. 2 goals in a couple of successive matches. Young boy who was in and out of the team last season, but clearly if you're playing in the Championship, you're still a teenager, you've got an awful lot of ability. So yeah, I think he's a name to look out for in the years to come.
Peterborough growing into the game. Long throw by Ward, headed away by Barkley at the heart of the West Brom defence. The ball picked up by Townsend, wearing number 3 in the left-back spot. Steers it low along the ground to Grant. Halfway line, plays it square to Phillips. West Brom really quick on the counter-attack. Here is Grant down the left-hand side. Dean Garner in the middle, Furlong 2. Grant runs into that formidable frame of Thompson again, who then concedes a free kick. Almost like a rush of blood. He did really well to see off Carlin Grant, but then he did clatter into Townsend, and West Brom have a free kick midway inside opposition territory in a dangerous position on that left side.
Yeah, he's not the most graceful player, is he? A bit ungainly at times, but I really like him. He's unusual. He's got a different running style, but he can bring the ball out of defence really well. He can defend with great heart. Just a touch over enthusiastic there, Thompson.
Carlin Grant is going to go across to take this free kick. In fact, Phillips is going to go across to take it. Initially it looked like it would be Mowat, and then Grant was on manoeuvres, and now Matt Phillips, the number 10, will...
They're getting stick, but I don't think they want a time waste. I'm pretty sure of that.
We've only got seconds of normal time remaining at the end of the first half. Phillips with a great delivery, away by Thompson again. Brilliant stretch to knock it clear. It was into that corridor of uncertainty, that free kick. And now Peterborough, 3 against 2 on the counter-attack. Into first half stoppage time. Marriott, great crossfield ball. Burrows on the edge of the penalty area. Right-footed curling effort, well wide. He had Grant making a terrific run to his left-hand side. The ball did take a deflection. It's a Peterborough corner, 0-0.
How quick were they, Peterborough, to spring that counter-attack? Very, very direct, but the pace of Marriott really got West Bromwich Albion stretched there, and Burrow's shot was deflected wide. They've got a chance here to nick something just before the break from the corner.
Just listen to the noise of the Peterborough supporters. And what might it be if this goes in? Burrows looping high delivery, too long for Johnson Clark Harris, and it goes out to play for a West Brom goal kick.
Yeah, it's a shame, just too much elevation on it. But yeah, I think that the posh players, can feel really proud of this first half performance. Great resilience, played with courage, haven't they? And you have to play with courage when you come up against a team that's better than you.
Stand up and face it.
Yeah, you have to. You either roll over. We saw, let's face it, we saw Arsenal roll over earlier on in the day. I don't like to bring it up, but the comparison is obvious.
Yeah.
They came up against a really strong team and rolled over. Peterborough haven't. They've been ever so resilient.
Held firm, and you just sense that confidence growing as the first half goes on. And Darren Ferguson at half-time, we're halfway through the 3 added at the end of the first period. 0-0 the score on TalkSport 2 if you're just joining us. But Darren Ferguson, I feel, in that half-time team talk will just say, we can nick one here. We're very much still in the game. Can you carve out a really clear-cut opportunity though? Grant from a central position whips a free kick high into the penalty area, headed away by Semi Ajayi. West Brom have played with that customary tenacity that we expect from them. They were dominant in the early stages. That dominance has waned a little, and Peterborough fans not happy because they feel that West Brom shouldn't have a throw. They think that Diangana had taken the ball off the pitch, but the referee and his assistants say no. West Brom throw just shy of halfway. It's been good fun watching the supporters, hasn't it? Not if you're a referee, though.
It is feisty. Yeah, I mean, refereeing last season was so much easier, wasn't it? I mean,
didn't have fans questioning your every move.
Exactly. It's the difference is incredible, but all in a positive way. I'm loving this atmosphere. It's so prickly. It's so hostile. They're determined, I think, the fans here tonight to make things uncomfortable for, let's face it, pretty illustrious visitors.
West Brom throw, midway inside opposition territory, directly in front of our commentary position. We're about 20-25 rows up from the front. Furlong will hurl it in long, right at the end of the first half, up towards Ajayi, half away by Peterborough. Butler gets his head to it to flick it away to the near side. We've had the 3 minutes of first half stoppage time. Furlong crosses dangerously, headed away, comes out to O'Shea, hammers it over the top of the terrace on the volley, and that's the half-time whistle. And Darren Ferguson will be the happier of the two bosses, you would wager, with the game scoreless at the break. West Brom have come out with all of their power and energy and that heavy counter-press. It's been fascinating to watch. The Baggies certainly had the better of the early exchanges. Carlin Grant forced a save from Christy Pym, but Peterborough United, who haven't kept a clean sheet at all so far this season, holding their own against the unbeaten Albion, who were relegated, of course, from the Premier League last season. They did have one chance towards the break, Peterborough. Jack Marriott curling straight at Sam Johnston, and it is all to play for on TalkSport 2 ahead of the second half. It's Peterborough United 0, West Brom 0 at the break. Thank you, Russ. Both sides out here at the Western Home Stadium, a little chillier in the air now, the floodlights shimmering up ahead, and both sides set to make half-time changes. And for Peterborough, it's a return to action for the first time this season for the former Chelsea youth teamer Jack Taylor, a midfielder who picked up a hamstring issue in pre-season and hasn't been able to play up until this point. And West Brom making a change too. Carl Bartley, the centre-half, comes off, and Adam Reach, who is a very versatile player, can play in a number of different positions, is the man to come on, plucked from Sheffield Wednesday after his departure there at the end of last season. And the Peterborough change looks more like a straight swap. Taylor for Ollie Norburn, who was on a yellow card, Adrian Clark.
I think that could be critical. Ollie Norburn got that yellow card quite early, and it is a physical match. Tackles are flying in all over the pitch, and the referee is not afraid to blow up, is he, for infringement. So I think that's a sensible move. And look, Jack Taylor was a key man last year. Darren Ferguson clearly eager to get back in the team.
So here we go. Peterborough still unbeaten at home in the Championship so far this season. West Brom looking to get back into the automatic promotion places, still undefeated home and away. And it's Peterborough with the score 0-0 who get us underway at the start of the second period, playing from left to right towards the London Road end, the home terrace behind the goal. And Peterborough in blue and white, West Bromwich Albion in their all-black change kit, playing from right to left towards the away end with the big electronic scoreboard, where 2,000 supporters who've made the trip from the Midlands are housed. I'll give you the two sides in full in just a moment as Kent steers the ball clear from the heart of the Peterborough defence, and Thompson will knock it long, high upfield towards Clark Harris. Semi Ajayi is there to nudge it out of play for a Peterborough throw. The one thing that you will get from both sides, certainly on the field from West Brom, that high-octane, high-pressing approach which Peterborough have dealt with admirably in the game so far, and you'll get a high-octane approach from the crowd here at the Western Homes. It may be one of the smallest stadiums in the Championship, but we're tight and close to the pitch, nice and compact. Noise really travels around this stadium, and all set for potentially a thrilling second half. Our commentary position, by the way, just to the right of the halfway line. 0-0 the score as Ajayi knocks the ball downfield for West Bromwich Albion. Let me run you through the two sides. Peterborough, Pym in goal. Kent, Thompson and Butler the centre halves. Ward, Grant, Taylor, Smoddix and Burrows in midfield. Clark Harris and Marriott up front. West Bromwich Albion, Johnston the goalkeeper. O'Shea, Ajayi and Townsend, it looks like now, the three centre halves, with Furlong and the substitute Reach acting as wing backs. Livermore and Mowat in the middle. Grant, Phillips and Diangana the three furthest forward. Adrian Clark.
It's interesting the change with Bartley. Is he injured or is it tactical? Because I see the sense in having, for balance purposes, having Townsend as the left side centre half. Adam Reach, I think the reason for bringing him into the fray is to find that final ball quality. He is an excellent technician, and
as Furlong whips it across on the right hand side, goalkeeper's dropped it. Did he bring down Phillips there, Pym, as he followed through the goalkeeper? Phillips went to ground. It was a completely innocuous situation initially, and meanwhile Peterborough on the counter-attack. Marriott, he's played it left behind Burrows. There was an acres of space on the far side. Burrows still does collect possession in front of O'Shea. O'Shea wins it back with a strong tackle, and all of a sudden the danger is gone, but half chance is almost out of nothing at both ends, Adrian.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't think it was a penalty at first glance. We haven't got the benefit of replays there. The goalkeeper got into a slight muddle and you thought, has he clipped Phillips there? But they always look at the player that was fouled, and there was no major protest from Matt Phillips. Then at the other end, fantastic little breakaway, good opportunity. Unfortunately they wasted that chance with it was a poor final pass, wasn't it, out to the left hand side, and the momentum of that move went. But Peterborough United carry a threat on the break, there's no question about that.
Former Arsenal winger Adrian Clark with me right at the back of the main stand. We've got spectators stepping across in front of us, returning to their seats at the start of the second half. 3 minutes of it played. Peterborough United 0, West Bromwich Albion 0. Tomorrow on TalkSport 2, full commentary of what we anticipate will be Lionel Messi's Paris Saint-Germain debut, long awaited as it is, away at Rennes in Ligue 1. Then Tuesday, EFL Trophy action, Charlton against Crawley live from 7, and Wednesday night with the first of the World Cup qualifiers across the network. Next week, Denmark against Scotland on TalkSport 2 is a 7:45 kickoff. Busy day in the EFL, wins for Bristol City, Fulham who are top, Huddersfield, Millwall, Preston and QPR. In the Premier League, Manchester City 5, Arsenal 0, Everton winners at Brighton, and Leicester beat Norwich by 2-1. Everything else was level as Townsend skips across at the heart of the West Brom defence to intercept a long raking ball, shepherds it back to his goalkeeper, all in pink Johnston, whose clearance drops up to the halfway line. And Clark, you just get the sense that Peterborough United are really growing in confidence in this game.
You do, and I think they might sense a little bit of weakness with Connor Townsend, the left-sided centre-back, with Adam Reach on his outside as the wing-back. Already they've looked to hit 2 or 3 long diagonal balls into that zone where those two are operating, and Jack Marriott, always on the move, he's a willing runner, and it just takes one spot-on pass to get them in.
Gives you a sense of how stretched this West Bromwich Albion squad is. Remember, Matt Clark is out for several weeks with
and he's a top player. He's a top centre-half at this level. Yeah, big miss.
Of course, we don't know that Bartley is injured, but you could surmise that might be the case. We'll wait and see. Valerian Ismail, the head coach, dressed all in dark blue, arms folded on the near side touchline. Darren Ferguson, I can see, about 25 rows down from us, standing to the right, looking thoughtful and pensive, the Peterborough boss. Peterborough haven't kept a clean sheet in any competition so far this season, but 0-0 with West Brom 5 minutes into the second half here. and Peterborough have started the second period the better as they win a free kick midway inside their own half.
Yeah, and they're certainly the better side at the start of the second half. West Bromwich Albion haven't got going at all, and you just have to look at Reach. Adam Reach has been brought on potentially to make the difference inside the final third, produce that telling cross that could win them the game. He's very, very deep. He's being pushed back.
Great touch, Clark Harris, the big striker down the right-hand side, the Peterborough number 9, who hit more than 30 goals in League One last season. Thought he was fouled, no free kick. And now West Brom are on the counter-attack. Dejan Garner at pace, darting through the middle. What a tackle, sliding into dispossession from Thompson, who's been the game's outstanding player so far. Unbelievable stretch with his right leg to whip the ball from underneath the feet of Dejan Garner.
He got his go-gadget leg out.
How?
He got his go-gadget leg out. That's what he did. That was unbelievable. Because Dejan Garner was away, down the middle. He had options to his right. He could try and take on the centre half and have a shot himself. And that moment where Dejan Garner was just thinking about what he was going to do, bang, Thompson comes in with the hook tackle. That was brilliant. It really was. And he's been sensational tonight.
Really, Dejan Garner's last West Brom goal was nearly a year ago in the Premier League away at Everton. Nathan Thompson, the Peterborough skipper, has shackled him so far. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0, but the Baggies are always dangerous. Remember, seeking an instant return to the Premier League after relegation last season. Poor pass out of play by Mowat, first time left-footed. Peterborough throw in the right wing spot. West Brom, who have Jordan Hugill among the rest of their subs, and Sariki Dembele among the attacking talent that Peterborough have on the bench, so we may well yet see both of those players introduced as Reach looks high and long down the middle, towering header away by the 6'4" Kent at the heart of the Peterborough back line. And now O'Shea stepping over the halfway line and nudging the ball square to the right, and Furlong pushes it down that far side touchline. Dejan Garner no way through past a determined Butler, and Peterborough have a throw.
Look like they're running out of ideas a little bit. West Bromwich Albion, certainly those blue defenders that look more comfortable than at any other stage in the game, and I think that the crowd can sense that. This is not, they're not up against it. It's not backs to the wall stuff at the moment for Darren Ferguson's team.
Got home fans packed in all around us in the commentary position. We've got a message from Adrian Durham, Talk Sports' very own, sitting at the top tier of the double-decker stand on the far side from us.
He'll have a cushion, he'll have a rug, he'll have all sorts up there, won't he?
Silver service.
I think so. Is he back out yet, or is he still having his half-time
prawn sandwiches?
Refreshments, I wonder, I don't know. Yeah. What did he say?
He was happy enough so far, at least. As Dejan Garner tears down the right for West Brom, wins a corner off Butler, and that gets the away fans up on their feet. First corner of the second period, just the second of the game so far for West Brom, who, as we say, do have the aerial advantage of the two sides. You're with Talk Sport 2, 8.5 minutes into the second period, and Ajayi and Townsend and O'Shea have all come forward for this. Dara O'Shea, who started the season actually in excellent goal-scoring form. Alex Mowat is over the ball. Plenty forward in all black for West Brom. Peterborough have left three players upfield as Mowat drills in the corner to the near post. Thompson flinging himself at it, very brave from the defender. Out of play it goes for a corner on the near side as we look at it now.
Yeah, it was a great delivery. So much bend and whip and pace on the ball. Thompson just flung himself at it. The goalkeeper there didn't cover himself with glory. He came to get the ball, was absolutely nowhere near. So that might give the Baggies a touch more encouragement. Hugill, the new signing, ready to come on after this corner.
Stripped and ready to go, number 17 on the back of his shirt, Jordan Hugill, tall and barrel-chested. Corner for West Brom on the near side this time. Darnell Furlong has come across from right back to the near side to take it. One arm up into the air. They've loaded the 6-yard box with black shirts. Whipped in swinging. Goalkeeper punches clear on the stretch pin. One-handed. Ended up going to ground, but got enough on the ball. And it's another West Bromwich Albion corner now. There's a West Brom player who's gone down inside the 6-yard box. I think it might be Dara O'Shea, and the referee James Linnington has stopped the game with the West Brom corner in front of the away end to come.
Yeah, it's probably good news that for Peterborough United. He's up on his feet, he's fine, but that slight little pause just took away the momentum of corner after corner after corner.
Pressure on Peterborough here. West Brom seeking a fourth straight championship victory. Mowat, formerly of Barnsley, will take the corner on the far side of the field. Again, he whips it in viciously towards the near post. Good header away by Ward this time for Peterborough. And Mowat actually elects to allow the ball to trickle out of play for a throw, and Furlong will come across to take it, and he'll shape to hurl this one in long.
Yeah, Alex Mowat doing the towel drying on his shirt there, just to make sure there's no moisture on the ball.
As if West Brom didn't have enough height and physicality in their side. Jordan Hugill, signed this week on loan from Norwich City, comes on to make his debut for the club, and it's Grady Diangana, 11 minutes into the second half with the score at 0-0, is the man who comes off. Hugill has scored goals at this level before with Preston and QPR, and 5 for Norwich in their promotion campaign last year. What can he do just seconds after coming onto the field? Furlong in towards the near post, flicked up into the air by Kent, headed back across goal by Phillips, and off the line, drops the edge of the penalty area, hooks clear by Grant for Peterborough United, who are clinging on with the score still 0-0. The ball is thundered up into the air crossfield by Reach, and Townsend will bring it down for West Brom, who've gone as close as they have throughout the match a few seconds ago there. High ball into the penalty area, in swinging by Grant, again well dealt with by the Peterborough back line, and now Marriott looking to get away down the left. Was he chopped down by Furlong on the slide? No, he wasn't. Furlong got to the ball first, and West Brom have it back. It's 0-0, and we've got a real battle on our hands here, Adrian.
We have, yeah. It was a good tackle actually from Darnell Furlong, but the energy, the industry of Jack Marriott does give Peterborough United an outlet. The fans are really getting behind the team. They've weathered quite the storm there, Posh. That was not easy to withstand that sort of onslaught in the air from West Bromwich Albion, but they stood firm, didn't they? Excellent.
On nights like this, contrasts in styles, and a club that was a Premier League side last season against a club that was a League One side last season. This is why we love the EFL, and why we love the Championship. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0 as we tick towards the hour mark here on your home of the EFL TalkSport 2. I think Siriki Dembele is putting on that blue and white shirt, the number 10, and indeed the crowd chanting his name away to the right. He's being ready to come on for Peterborough.
Yeah, we're a favourite here. There's another long throw to deal with first. This time from the left.
Townsend will take it, the number 3. Plenty forward again for West Brom. 4 of them well over 6 foot tall inside the penalty area. Long throw by Townsend, headed away out to the edge of the box, and Mowat gets to it, tries to place it, it takes a deflection. Pym spreads himself, prevents the corner, did really well there, the goalkeeper. It was going well wide via a deflection, and Pym flung himself to prevent it from rolling out wide for a corner. It's another throw for West Brom, which in some ways for them is as good as a corner. This time it's taken short. Grant with a great delivery and a brilliant save by the goalkeeper, and then Ajayi is denied by Pym again. The most remarkable bit of goalkeeping by Christy Pym. Ajayi's final effort comes off the post, and the Peterborough goalkeeper just a second or so before making a wonder save to keep it 0-0.
Oh, it's a brilliant piece of goalkeeping from Pym. It was a glorious ball in. It was Livermore with the in swing up, and then it was Darragh O'Shea. He got a great header on it, headed it into the ground. It skims off the turf, but the goalkeeper, electric in his reflexes, keeps Peterborough in the game. That was magnificent. It really was good football all round.
Somehow it's still scoreless.
I can't believe it. We expected goals, and we haven't seen as many chances. Looking at the shot count, West Brom had 6 shots in the first 15-20 minutes. They're only on 8 now. That's how well Peterborough have defended. But no, I did expect more attempts on goal, more goals, but the game's not over. I think once we get one, we might get several.
Peterborough brought on the electric Siriki Dembele on in place of Jack Marriott. Dembele, full of pace and trickery, great finisher, great technician, one of the smallest players on the field at 5'5", long sleeve shirt on, and he's shown a propensity to torment Championship defences here at the Western Homes already this season. Goals in consecutive home league matches. This is his kind of occasion, his kind of nightclub.
It feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah, big atmosphere under the lights, chance to make a real name for himself, and look, he loves playing here. he's got 2 goals in 2 appearances on home turf this season. No wonder the fans are cheering his name, and he has the ability to unlock any defence at this level.
He's reached down the left wing though for West Brom, crosses high up to the edge of the penalty area, flicked away by Smodics, only half away for Peterborough, and then Burrows hammers it clear over the halfway line. At times it's like they're under siege, Peterborough, in this second period, but they survive again. And then a dreadful crossfield ball from Furlong, ballooned out of play for a goal kick, and Darren Ferguson can breathe again.
They do boom it, don't they? They're quite agricultural at times, West Bromwich Albion. They don't have that finesse. What I think, if they can blend just a little bit more finesse in their game, find somebody, not a Mateus Pereira, he's impossible to find. A player like that was gold really to West Bromwich Albion. Yeah, exactly. He was always going to be too good for the Championship, but they can find someone with a touch, more of a softer touch, someone that can unlock the door in matches like this. I think that will help them moving forwards, because if you can't bully a team, if you can't batter that door down, what else have you got?
For Smodics inside the penalty area, little touch Majayi, and the assistant flagging on this near side signals for a Peterborough corner right in front of that packed terrace, singing and swaying behind the goal.
Yeah, it's a cheap corner, but look at those fans on the terrace. They are sucking this ball in, aren't they? Well, they'll hope to. It's a 2v1 here if they want to play the short one.
Burrows does do so. Square to Grant. West Brom have brought everybody back. Ball steered into the path of Ward, who scoops it high towards the far post, and Frankie Kent was underneath it, but could only send the ball spiralling high over the top of the crossbar. If there's one thing that's been missing for Darren Ferguson probably so far tonight, remember the manager said before the game, this kind of night is why we work so hard to get back in the Championship. But if there's one thing Peterborough have been missing, it has been a real goal threat. You'd have thought with Clark Harris and Dembele on the pitch, they should potentially have it.
But I see no reason why these 2 players can't score plenty of goals in the Championship, and they're made in many respects to get in behind this West Brom rearguard.
It is still 0-0 as Reach scoops the ball long down the far side for West Brom, and now Carlin Grant, edge of the penalty area, curling one, good block by George Grant, his namesake, who stuck with him all the way. Peterborough scramble it clear up to the halfway line, and O'Shea collects on the far side, looks to scoop it down the right touchline very quickly. West Brom instinctively with that counter press and that urge to get the ball forward deep into opposition territory, but now Peterborough countering themselves. Out comes Johnston, the goalkeeper, edging his penalty area to head it clear.
Hang on,
trying to prevent the throw from being taken quickly here, Johnston. He's running to the crowd to grab the ball, the goalkeeper, because he knew he was miles out of position, and he's yellow carded, and James Linnington had no option there, Adrian.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. I mean, he acts against the sweeper keeper, he heads it into the crowd, and then goes to retrieve the ball so that the crowd don't give it back to a Peterborough player. I mean, that was asking for a yellow. Well played the referee. And actually, well played Sam Johnson for his team, because he thought about that very, very quickly.
Sam Johnson called up to the England squad this week. 19 minutes into the second half, 0-0. Long throw from Ward towards Clark Harris, headed away at the near post. Taylor with the lime green boots on, leaves the loose ball for Butler, who sends it rolling all the way back to goalkeeper Pym. Pym hammers the ball high downfield through the evening sky. That's a foul by Furlong, is it? No. The free kick's gone the other way. I don't know whether it was offside initially against Burrows Club.
Yeah, offside, yeah. It was one of those situations where the linesman just delays it. And
this is great though, isn't it?
Look, no goals, but I mean,
it's a game befitting of goals.
You will not see a more full-blooded encounter in the Championship this season.
Commitment,
so much commitment, and yeah, it's not pretty. It's not that easy on the eye, but it's pretty fun actually to watch.
It's a scrap, isn't it?
It is. It's like two sort of boxers slugging it out at the moment.
Great control by Carlin Grant for West Brom, and then he plays it square to Murd, who's 30 yards out, and the left-footed effort, though he can hit them from distance, is way wide. Ironic cheers from the home fans.
Well, he's earned the right to have shots from that kind of range, Alex Murray, because for Barnsley, he stuck a few of those in the top corner, scored a beautiful left-footed volley, didn't he, at Blackburn Rovers last time out. So, look, there won't be no West Brom teammates complaining to Mowat there for taking the shot. But yeah, they're just missing a bit of guile here. It's route one, it's direct, it's so hard to contain, but it lacks a bit of craft.
0-0 the score, 20 minutes played in the second half. We have to go back to Adrian Clark's Arsenal youth team days for the last time that Peterborough beat West Brom in 94.
Wow. I think I was out of the youth team then. I was a young pro. I was a first year pro, yeah. It's a long time ago, I know that.
I hate to say it, Clarky, but yeah. I wasn't even
you're out of order. You're out of order. Don't go there.
Furlong was chucked a towel from the crowd, it looked like, to wipe down the ball on the far side. It could well be that there's a member of West Brom's staff down there, but was it a jumper possibly to wipe the ball with? He's going to take a long throw right by the corner flag on the far side.
That's good teamwork, isn't it?
And he's going to chuck that jumper back into the crowd, a jumper or a towel. And the West Brom fan who's given him that is getting lots of applause from the supporters surrounding him. West Brom playing towards the away end in the second half. Long throw by Furlong towards Ajayi, headed away by Thompson, slice clearance by Taylor off his right boot. West Brom throw. You know that Valérien Ismail's side are going to be relentless up until the last. The head coach demands nothing less, whatever the score. Good turn by Phillips down the left side, right by the corner flag, tries to drive it across. Terrific defending by Ward to block it away, but Peterborough are going to have to face a barrage as we enter the final quarter of the game on TalkSport 2. Reach with the cross, Hugo with the flicked header, straight into the gloves of Pym. It was the easiest of saves.
Yes, it was. You can't really classify that as a shot. I think that they've struggled, haven't they, West Brom, to get in behind Peterborough this half. All of the crosses have been in-swingers. Now, there's nothing wrong with an in-swinging cross, and you can score from them, but I always feel they're easier to defend and much harder for strikers to get on the end of. What strikers really like is when the ball is cut back or whipped along the face of goal, and West Bromwich Albion haven't been able to get into those positions, not often enough anyway.
From Peterborough's perspective, Darren Ferguson, admirable resilience from his side, but they need to see more of a sort of attacking threat and long balls up to Siriki Dembele, who is the smallest player on the field, is not going to get that done.
No, they can't really get out of their own half at the moment. They have to find a way to look after the ball, and maybe it might need Dembele to drop in between the lines to pick it up.
Hugill gets to it, red boots on in front of Kent the defender, a little slow to react for once. Now Livermore, edge of the 18-yard box, high cross to the far post, Furlong plays it across, turned away by Butler from the edge of the 6-yard line. It's another West Brom throw, deep inside opposition territory. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0.
Yeah, great again from Butler.
And that jumper's been produced again.
Look, I love it, because it's teamwork between the fans and the team and the player, unless of course it's a staff member, but it feels to me like it is genuinely a fan saying, look, use my garment because it will help the team. Yeah,
it definitely looks
it's fantastic. It's like a grey sweatshirt, isn't it?
Somebody in the away end for sure.
I don't think I'll be putting it back on.
Furlong will take the long throw. Phillips and Ajayi going in at the near post. Again it's hacked clear, this time by Burrows towards the halfway line. Now Swaddix, was he pulled down? Yes, he was. Free kick to Peterborough and a yellow card for Alex Mowat.
Yeah, it was definitely cynical. Didn't want Swaddix to get away there and just pinned him in, and gives a little bit of respite for Peterborough, who can now hopefully string some passes together inside the Albion half.
Long ball from Kent to find Ward in behind down the right hand side. His cross is good and it's turned behind by Dara O'Shea. A very calm intervention right in front of his own goal. He had to be calm, he had to time it well, because Sammy Swaddix was coming in at the far post in blue and white for Peterborough. In the end it's a corner.
Sensational from Peterborough United. Beautiful diagonal over Adam Reach. Ward does superbly, drills it into the right area. How it's not an own goal from O'Shea, I'm not quite sure. He had no control over that at all.
Fourth corner of the game so far, whipped in towards Kent on the edge of the 6-yard box, gets a touch to it. Johnston is there to grab the looping ball out of the air. There was a tangle with Johnson Clark Harris. Johnston screams towards the referee, James Liddington, not happy, and Valerian Ismail on the near side having words. And Sam Johnston, furious really.
I was looking at the keeper. Sammy Smudix was hiding behind Sam Johnson, just waiting for him to just drop the ball and roll it out.
Oh, here's a chance for Clark Harris down the right-hand side. Plays it across to the edge of the penalty area. Smodix couldn't reach it. It was hooked away by O'Shea at the last. Right on the edge of that West Brom box, and suddenly Peterborough are having a good spell. 20 minutes to go. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0. Thompson has hacked down Phillips, who somehow manages to keep the ball and keep his feet. It's a free kick inside West Brom territory, and Thompson, his first real mistake. He was about 10 minutes late to that challenge, and he gets the yellow card.
Definitely yellow. Yeah, he's so enthusiastic, wasn't he? Completely committed to the challenge, and it didn't quite happen. But yeah, with Sam Johnson, so he had the ball in his hands, and Sammy Smodix was basically just trying to stay on his blind side, hoping that he'd drop the ball so that he could steal it, and Johnson looked over his shoulder and then he basically gestured, "Sling your hook, I've seen what you're up to."
Put very diplomatically, Clarkie. As Smodix tries to flick it away for Peterborough from their left back position, the number 7. Scored plenty of goals in League One last year. Now Grant's over the halfway line. Great kick from Dembele, away from Ajayi, into the penalty area. Ajayi gets across. That was simply electric. Lightning quick pace from Sariki Dembele. Almost out of nothing, he turned on a sixpence, and it's led to Peterborough winning a corner, 0-0.
Oh, it's acceleration with a capital A. Blimey, that was rapid from Dembele, and that little burst has earned Peterborough United a corner, and they've sent the big men forward. And I'll tell you what, it's West Brom fans that are nervous right now.
Clark will leave it for George Grant to whip in right-footed, headed away by Hugill through a crowd of bodies, comes out to Ward on the volley. Effort was blocked by his own man, and I tell you what, an offside in the end goes up, the flag goes up because it came off Smodix, but if he hadn't been in the way, was that goal-bound Adrian
Well,
Clark?
it might have been. We couldn't quite tell from the angle, but it would have asked the question of Sam Johnson, that's for sure. It was a brilliant volley.
Well, it's 0-0 on TalkSport 2. Peterborough against West Brom. Peterborough, well, they've seen late goals go in at either end at this ground so far this season. 2 in injury time to beat Derby, and then they conceded 2 late on to draw with Cardiff. West Brom said to be frustrated in their bid for 4 straight wins. The ball is up on the halfway line. Livermore and Dembele going head to head. Dembele goes to ground. Referee lets play continue. Now Butler shuffles the ball out to the left-hand side, and Burrows, who safety first, goes back to his goalkeeper. And, well, with 11.5 minutes of normal time to go, it could still go either way. And here's Clark Harris from 35 yards, felled by Townsend. Free kick to Peterborough.
Yeah, good chest control, really strong, too strong for Connor Townsend, who brings him down. And look, I think this is too far out. This has got to be...
It's midway inside the West Brom half,
it's 40, it's 35 to 40 yards, but it's awkward, isn't it, because it's central, can't really cross it from this position, and have to shift the direction, change the angle here.
Ward has peeled away to the right-hand side for Peterborough, who have sent Kent and Thompson forward. Clark Harris lurking in an offside position at the moment, and it's played square by Grant and floated in by Taylor, and it's overhit by Miles and taken easily by Johnston.
Yeah, as I said, it was a really awkward position to have a free kick. All they could do really was do a square pass and pick up the move from there. Execution from Taylor was poor, but yeah, it's been a good spell for Peterborough.
But now West Brom on the counter-attack. Mowat, 35 yards out, left of centre, faced up by a cluster of men in blue and white. Just over 10 minutes left, 0-0 the score. Are we going to find the breakthrough here? Reaches conceded a goal kick. I thought it was a corner at first off Ward, maybe a trick of the light, because I think it must have hit Ward, hit Reach and gone behind. Goal kick to Peterborough United. Christy Pimmer's made one outstanding save in the second half, Adrian Clark, one of the saves of the championship season so far, but that aside, it's been heroic defending from Peterborough.
Yeah, he's been really well protected. 2 shots on target from West Bromwich Albion, 2 excellent saves from Pim, 15 shots overall, but a lot of them quite speculative. I think the back 3 have just been outstanding today, all of them. Butler in that unfamiliar position, Thompson, probably the man of the match, and Kent in the middle has done excellently as well. So yeah, what a brave, courageous performance from those guys. They've just got to see the job out now, keep this first clean sheet of the championship season.
Ball clearance by O'Shea for West Brom, straight out of play. Peterborough throw, far side the left, and here comes Dan Butler to take it. Butler midway inside opposition territory. Lots of Peterborough fans sat behind him in the lower tier of the family stand. A throw back to the halfway line now, and Kent will steer it back to Christy Pym, the goalkeeper. Pym looks up, hammers the ball high downfield. You're with TalkSport 2. Great flick down the right by Clark Harris. Ward, has he got the pace to get in behind? Very nearly did in front of reach. The former Sheffield Wednesday player hooked out a leg to divert it behind for another corner in front of the terrace end.
They are testing Adam Reach here in this second half. He's not a natural defender, and Joe Ward is quick, he's buccaneering, and he always wants to get in behind him, and he did there, but in the end there's nothing Reach could do but put the ball behind for a corner. Look at this crowd in the 6-yard box here, Joe.
There must be 5 or 6 in Peterborough blue and white in front of Sam Johnston. Harrison Burrows will try and whip it underneath the crossbar. Kent goes down at the far post. James Linnington, despite loud appeals from the home fans, says goal kick. We've got 8 minutes to go, and it's still scoreless.
Yeah, I did not expect this game to be scoreless, I must confess. I just thought it had goals written all over it, but it's not been for the lack of trying, has it? I think both teams have been as bold as they can be. But it's almost as if, Peterborough's preparation for this game, they focused so hard on negating West Bromwich Albion that it's had that impact where it's been hard for either team to create proper chances.
Miscue by Thompson, looking a little tired now at the back. Peterborough United. Carlin Grant trying to force his way through. Thompson does brilliantly and gets back again. Reach will find Moet, middle of the Peterborough half, left of centre, very little space to work with. It's very congested back there. Now Carlin Grant steers it to Reach through the legs of one defender. Livermore from the corner of the box, high cross to the far post, headed away well by Burrows, tracking back and defending. Picked up by Moet, plays it to O'Shea, out wide to Moet again. Right hand edge of the 18-yard box now, in front of the Albion fans. Swings in the delivery. Hugh Gill goes up for it. Bouncing ball. Goalkeeper wanted to claim that, did Pym. In the end, Butler clears for Peterborough United. And now they're on the counter-attack again. Smodix trying to tear over the halfway line. Dembele and Clark Harris in the middle. It's a brilliant run down the left-hand side. The cross towards the far post evades Clark Harris, though, and reaches there on the cover to clear for Peterborough, to clear for West Brom.
Oh, what a shame. Clark Harris makes the run to the near post. The cross from Sammy Smodix is to the far post. Just weren't on the same wavelength there.
And now an opportunity for Phillips, but the offside flag is up. It looked as though Phillips was clear on goal, but not to be. And out of play it goes for a free kick in the end to Peterborough United with 34 minutes nearly into the second half. Are we going to see at least one last chance for either team, Adrian?
Oh, I sincerely hope so. Look, one goal might win it now, but yeah, I think it's been such a good nil-niller, so to speak, that I think it'd be nice to see a winner. and look, Peterborough United, I think for their second half performance, you wouldn't begrudge them the 3 points here. You really wouldn't. And they have carried quite a serious threat, even though they've not tested Sam Johnson in the same way that Pym has been tested at the other end.
We've got less than 11 minutes to play, plus stoppage time at the Western Home Stadium. Both sides will need a rest with the international break to come. They'll be grateful for it. Furlong looking to reach a raking ball down the right. He's not going to get there. Peterborough going to add some height and physicality to their defensive unit, their midfield unit. George Grant is the man coming off, and Josh Knight, who impressed at this level with Wycombe Wanderers despite their relegation last season, he's joined on a permanent deal from Leicester City. This is his third spell at Peterborough. He's the man to come off.
Yeah, no, he can play central midfield, he can play centre half. Really useful player for Darren Ferguson. George Grant ran his legs off tonight, didn't have that many touches on the ball, didn't wasn't able to get on it and create in the way that he likes to do, but he put in a real shift and very dogged inside there. But it's a slightly cautious move. I think the thinking there from Darren Ferguson is to just add a layer of protection in front of those three centre-backs, because Knight is more defensive-minded than Grant.
We have less than 10 minutes left. Both sides pushing for a late winner, but it's 0-0. West Brom taking their time with this throw, it would appear. Furlong has gone to retrieve that jacket or towel from the crowd again.
There it comes, but they've got like somebody relaying it. It's
very strange to see this. And I think Darren Ferguson is making the point that if this is something that's coming from a spectator, yellow card for Furlong, because it's an outside influence, isn't it?
You can't run 20 yards to get the jumper, wipe it, and then run 20 yards back, and then you've got to run another 20 yards back to take the throw in. It's just taking too long. I love the ingenuity. I like the fact that they're in it together, but it's not in the best interest of the game. It's killing too much time.
He's getting a talking to from the referee now, Furlong. Got to be careful on the yellow card.
I think the message was, do that again and I'll send you off.
Throw is level with the edge of the 18-yard box. West Brom have loaded the penalty area with players dressed in black. Long throw up towards O'Shea at the near post, and climbing is Clark Harris, and it's a corner for West Brom in front of the away end. Their fifth corner of the game, and Peterborough have faced a barrage in this second period in particular. Can they hold on though? Can they hold out?
Wow, they've done very well until this point. It's about concentration now. They're tired minds, tired bodies. Can they just keep clear heads and do their jobs right up until the final whistle?
We've seen lots of late goals so far this season at the Western Homes. Whipped in by Moet, away at the near post by Butler this time for Peterborough. Picked up by Livermore out on the right wing. He steers it forward to Phillips. Phillips clips in the high cross. Hugill heads it wide at the far post. And the West Brom fans behind the goal were ready to celebrate a late winner and a debut goal. But instead it's a goal kick away to the left for Peterborough United.
That's a Giltez chance, no question about it. Brilliant wing play from Phillips. Scuttled to the byline. Hung up a really good ball. It had plenty of pace on it. Climbed well enough, Jordan Hugill, but he didn't control his header very well at all. It was always going 2 or 3 feet wide, so yeah, frustration for the new boy.
Well, what a game day we've had across the TalkSport network. On TalkSport 2, it all began with the East Midlands Derby draw, 1-1 between Derby and Forest. Then at 3 o'clock, West Ham 2, Crystal Palace 2, and 0-0 here. So 3 draws at least is what we're set for across TalkSport 2 game day, but maybe Peterborough will have something to say about that. The live football continues tomorrow with Reims against Paris Saint-Germain at 7:45. Ward down the right hand side, deep into opposition territory. He's got Dembele square. Here is Siriki Dembele. Crowd lifted whenever he gets the ball. Dembele twisting and turning. Finds Knight the substitute. Now Ward hangs up a cross. It's not a good one. Steered up into the air away from danger by Furlong, and the flick further clear by Hugill for West Brom. And just over 6 minutes to play. Butler scoops the ball into the penalty area. Opposite number Townsend gets it away for West Brom. And the header further clear by Reach up to the halfway line. Are we going to see the deadlock broken? Or are we going to see the net bulge? Are we going to see a late winner, Adrian?
I'd like to hear a roar, that's for sure. I mean, this game deserves a goal.
Who knows which end it's going to come out, if it is going to come. Swaddick's no way to wriggle past Ajayi. Great defending from the former Rotherham man, towering above his marker. And now Carlin Grant nudging it wide for Phillips. Phillips plays it into the penalty area for Hugill. Hugill back to Grant inside the area. He goes down. That has to be a penalty kick. The referee though says no. Valerian Ismail is furious. So to the West Brom players. So to the West Brom fans. It was a brilliant move. Thompson has gone down. Grant for West Brom had stayed down. And I wonder whether if VAR had got the chance to have a look at that, Adrian Clark, whether we'd be seeing a spot kick for West Brom.
Yeah, look, it's so difficult to tell from where we are. My gut instinct says that he was looking for that he wanted to go to ground, that he just knocked the ball a little bit too far out of his reach, and that he was waiting and anticipating that contact. I think the referee has got that right, but it's hard to to be definitive when you don't have access to the replays, but it was good football, that is for sure, from West Bromwich Albion. Really sharp interplay.
There's a fan right in front of us. He's watching the game on his mobile, and we're trying to get a glimpse of the penalty appeal. James Linnington in the end waving it away despite the loud appeals from behind the goal, and it was hard to see on Brom monitor.
There was no big reaction from the people in front of us, so I think that the referee might have called that right.
What a thrilling 0-0 it's been on TalkSport 2.
It's a lot of 0-0ers are tame, where you think that neither team's trying to win the game, but the intent from West Brom is always to go forward, and it's exactly the same from Peterborough. As soon as they get the ball, they want to get at you as quickly as possible. That's why I'm so shocked that we've not seen a goal.
Burrows, far side left wing position, trying to provide it, teases it back to Taylor, 30 yards out, great ball, Dembele, edge of the box, through the middle, chance for Smodics to try and get on the end of it. Goalkeeper came to collect it, Johnston, and Clark Harris couldn't make a ploy for it because he was in an offside position, and therefore he stood statuesque. He's hardly had a sniff of a chance, Johnson, Clark Harris, and again the opportunity for Peterborough just haven't quite carved it out in that final third.
Genial play though, wasn't it, from Dembele inside the box. Lovely little piece of footwork, one foot to the next, and he sort of flicked it into the empty space. But Clark Harris was right, he was in offside position, he had to leave the ball, and it was frustration again.
They can strike late, they can concede late. Valerian Ismail ready for West Brom to take this throw on the halfway line quickly. Grabs the ball with the head coach and chucks it into the arms of Adam Reach. Hardly anybody's making a muscle to leave here at the Western Homes, moving a muscle rather, because there are still 2.5 minutes plus stoppage time to go. And in the Championship anything can happen. Furlong out on the right, held up by Burrows. Everybody inside the Peterborough half, bar the West Brom goalkeeper Johnston. Dembele though, hassling and harrying O'Shea, who has managed to steer it forward to Phillips. Deep inside opposition territory, high deflected looping cross. Goalkeeper took it well, Kim.
Yeah, he did, good concentration levels. What are we? Yeah, just a couple of minutes left, plus stoppage time. Will they settle? I don't think they will. I don't think either team wants
They're not
to settle for a
kind
point.
of teams, are they?
No, it's wholehearted, and I think this crowd, this vociferous crowd, will urge the Posh on to try and have one more shot at goal here.
I think Darren Ferguson would certainly take a point.
Oh yeah.
At this stage,
It's a great point for them. If they get the draw, it's an outstanding point and a really pleasing performance from a manager's point of view. And he'll have learned a lot about his players, and he'll be able to tell his players beyond this game, you were a match for West Bromwich Albion, who have overpowered so many teams, and they're going to do that throughout the course of this season. You can take unbelievable confidence from this.
Long downfield by Johnston, the goalkeeper, from a free kick. Everybody around the edge of the box as the cross comes in from the right hand side from Phillips, and Kim is out there to take it quickly. West Brom are going to miss out on the chance to move into the automatic promotion places. They'll be level on points with QPR in second and a couple of points behind Fulham, who are top of the table, the early Championship leaders, as we enter the final minute of normal time. Peterborough 0, West Brom 0 on TalkSport 2. Little touch from Thompson on the near side, the right for Peterborough. It's half intercepted by Carl and Grant, and then Reach wins a throw in the left back spot for West Brom.
Yeah. I think the only thing missing really from this Peterborough performance is that huge goal for it up top. I think that Clark Harris has been on the edge of the game. He's worked hard, but he hasn't really looked like scoring. It's been the players around him that have sort of been the more dangerous, and I think he'll be a little bit frustrated.
Throw to West Brom, left wing position, deep inside opposition territory with time running out. Townsend takes it short to Grant. Grant steers it back out wide to the left hand side, and Townsend again, high ball towards Hugill, chests it down and shoots high over the top as we enter 5 minutes of stoppage time. 0-0.
Well, didn't you have 10 last time? and a couple of goals.
And 2 goals.
Well, 5 minutes, maybe we'll get 1 goal, hey? Let's see.
And they had 6 here against Cardiff, and of course it was the South Wales side who got a late equaliser that day. And they're announcing the man of the match over the loudspeaker. Christy Pym, I think, has got it, Clarkie, but...
Yeah, a couple of good saves. Really good saves.
Other contenders as well.
Yeah, the members of the back three, I think, for sure. Butler and Thompson in particular, I think, have been superb.
EFL Trophy action next Tuesday on TalkSport 2. Charlton Crawley, then Wednesday Scotland away at Denmark. Again live on TalkSport 2 as O'Shea clashes the ball high upfield to the halfway line. It's brought down by Taylor cleverly. Great flick by Ward down the right-hand channel. Even better tackle from Townsend, sliding in on Clark Harris. Peterborough throw midway inside opposition territory. 4 minutes of stoppage time to go with the score at 0-0. Dembele looking to get in front of Reach, who hooks it away. The ball drops for Taylor in the middle of the West Brom half. Peterborough seeking to finish the game the stronger. Darren Ferguson said before the match, if we can get 7 points from 5 to start the season, I'll be a happy man. I think he'd take 5 points from 5 at this stage. Just listen to the noise. Great flick down the right by Clark Harris, but Ward can't get to it. Out of play for a throw to West Brom. And Valerian Ismail pacing up and down his technical area. Clarkie, frustrated.
Yeah, he doesn't look hugely happy. I think that the way that they started this game, you thought, wow, it's only a matter of time before they score a goal. They can blow teams away. But once that initial burst came and went, when you're looking for them to have that second wind, it's not really been there, has it? And I think that will be a source of frustration for me. I love this, I like the style. Even though it's not pretty, it's very effective. But they could do with 1 or 2 players that can unlock the door with a clever little pass. They could probably do with a little Siriki Dembele type player to unlock stubborn defences like Peterborough's.
Halfway through 5 added. Johnston long up to the edge of the penalty area. O'Shea has steered it wide to Phillips. Plenty inside the box for West Brom in front of the away end. 0-0 the score. O'Shea crosses. Brilliant block by Butler. Butler, normally a left wing back, has been outstanding as a left-sided centre half today. There is still time for West Brom.
No towel.
Phillips wants to get the towel. And that is quite unsporting, really.
No, he's dropped it.
He's dropped it. I thought he was going to give it to Furlong, because, of course, Furlong's on a yellow card, and Phillips thinks, well, I'll take one for the team and chuck it to you, Darnell, anyway. Yeah. But no towel, and it's being removed by a steward, I think, now. Very strange, that aspect of play in this second half. Furlong's long throw into the penalty area, headed away by Clark Harris, flicked further clear by Ward, high, up and under, downfield, away by O'Shea with his head. Burrows slips, Furlong wins it back, down the right for Phillips, into the penalty area, angle is tight, still Matt Phillips, and it's tucked in by Ajayi! It's stoppage time for West Bromwich Albion! They've got the late goal! It's never over till it's over in the Championship! And Semi Ajayi, to the delight of 2,000 behind the goal, has surely won it for West Bromwich Albion. Heartbreak for the home side. Peterborough 0, West Brom 1.
What a crushing blow for Peterborough United. They have worked so hard. They have been valiant for 92 minutes, but it's not enough to keep that first clean sheet of the season. Matt Phillips, electric, surges into the box, and can he pick out the right ball? Yes, he can, right along the face of goal for Ajayi. And wow, what scenes away to our left-hand side, limbs everywhere. That was a big moment, you imagine, in West Brom's season, and an absolute killer for Posh. I feel for them.
Well, we mentioned the chance of a late goal. There's not been a ground in the Championship this season to tell you it's a possibility like this one. Peterborough have been on the right end and the wrong end, and now the wrong end again. And Semi Ajayi, the man almost from point-blank range, 2-3 yards out, on his first start of the season, his first goal of the season, And West Bromwich Albion are surely heading back into the top two in the Championship. Clark Harris went down looking for a free kick on the right-hand side, and the referee doesn't buy it. We've had the 5 minutes of stoppage time. Peterborough 0, West Brom 1.
Yeah, he flung himself to the floor. Look, it's been a great effort. I really feel sorry for Darren Ferguson and the players, but that's the difference between West Bromwich Albions of this world and the Peterborough United. They've got those players that can make the difference, and Phillips left Butler for dead, and Butler has been outstanding today, but he just couldn't keep pace with him as he surged into the box, and it was a perfect ball, and he could not miss Ajayi. Really emphatic finish.
Full-time whistle. Valérien Ismaël punches the air in delight. It is 4 straight Championship victories for West Bromwich Albion. It's desperate disappointment for Peterborough United. Right at the end, the Baggies have snatched victory. Semi Ajayi, 5 minutes into stoppage time, in front of a now delirious away end, where there are flags being unfurled. There are blue and white scarves being held above the heads of those West Bromwich Albion supporters. They've been in a game tonight, but sometimes, when you're in the scrap for promotion, you have to win ugly, and West Brom have done that tonight. Peterborough beaten late on in the Championship, their first home league defeat of the new season, and still no clean sheets for Darren Ferguson's side in any competition this season. There's a member of staff, I'm not sure from which club, who was having to be held back there as he made motion towards the match officials, and the passions and tensions clearly running high as Valérien Ismaël goes across to salute the West Bromwich Albion supporters. But it is West Brom who are back into the top two in the Championship, level on points with Fulham. They have won here at Peterborough United very late on by a single goal to nil.